Alright, this is the future spot of the deer stand. It's 12 feet by 8 feet. I'm going to try and make it on stilts, at least 4 feet off the ground. And as you're inside of it, you're going to be overlooking the food plot. And then it goes and follows the trail up ahead. And then the trail goes back this way, all the way down there towards the edge of the hill, towards the house. But I have to break open this auger and see how it works. I'm hoping I don't hit rocks, but something tells me I'm going to. What do you think, Soph? Am I going to hit rock? At least one or two. Luke, what do you think? 5. Well, here's to only dirt.
It's a 10-inch auger. Just picked it up from Menards. And we got 1 foot, 2 feet, 1.5 feet, 2 feet, 2.5 feet, 1.5. What's that? 1.5, 1.5, and 1.5. So far so good.
So we worked on those holes for probably another 8 hours or so, getting them as deep as we could. And in this photo here, you can see the finished product, about how deep we were able to get for each of the 9 holes.
Yeah, I think we had 9 total, and I want to say 5 or 6 of them we got down to 42 inches, or slightly deeper, just to get below the frost line. And then the remaining 3 or 4, we actually went down and hit some type of hard granite or quartz or something underneath. And I started to hammer drill some of those pieces out and realized that there wasn't really a point in hammer drilling out the rock so that I could put cement down further. I should just set my cement forms and pillars right on that rock. So anyway, so that's what we wound up doing, and for the size and the number of piers that we built, it should be more than strong. One of the things that was challenging about this place on our land where we decided to build was that it was up probably about 100-foot incline, maybe a little bit more, and it was pretty steep incline. So any of the materials, any of the really anything that we had to bring up was extra.
The generator, that was a treat bringing up.
Yeah, that was big and heavy. And then on top of it all, you can see in this photo that there was a giant tree that blew over. That was probably about 1 of 1,000 trees, and I'm not joking, that blew over in a storm that came through, which I don't know was a tornado, but it sure shook the whole cabin the night that we were here. So we had a lot of challenges to work around, some of the down trees. You can see I had to cut some of that up just to clear it a little bit so we could work. But this, just from the very beginning, this environment was going to be really challenging to get materials up and down.
Over here. Okay. Okay, I want you back. Lukey, come on. shoot up around, okay? Just a little further. Just gonna shoot up around the edge here.
So I mentioned before that the environment and the terrain getting up to this building area was really challenging. What made it so challenging was not, I mean, it was kind of a steep incline, but there was so much rain the entire summer, and it seemed like it just was never-ending rain when we were building this. So, you know, when you add weight into a little cart like this one, this little gorilla cart, you know, and then you're trying to get up in the mud, you're trying not to make ruts in our trail too deep, and then you're also trying to not get stuck. It was pretty challenging. And then a couple times, you know, when you try and strap down weight, like I think in this case I'm trying to haul stair treads up in advance that have been pre-cut. It was just really challenging to get, you know, traction with the ATV pulling a heavy amount of load. I think those were 2x12 treads that were cut into, you know, probably a dozen pieces.
And this was definitely one of the smaller loads that we were trying to get up the hill. We had some giant loads that would tip and flip and dump everywhere all over the forest, and then we had to load it back up. Lots of that.
Yeah, there was easily over 100 loads that we did back and forth. And like I mentioned, this cart works great for doing stuff on flat ground close by to the house. But going uphill and putting a lot of weight in it probably is not what it was made for. We'll see some pictures of the new wagon that I bought. It was called a Bannon, and it had you know, dual axles that worked independently, and you know, you could load that thing up with a lot of weight, and it was made of, you know, steel everywhere. We'll show that a little later. That worked a lot better, and we were hauling sheets of plywood up on the back of that. But anyways, the cart worked, and we still use this cart. It has a few cracks in it after this load, or one of the loads around this time.
Now this is probably what this cart is more geared towards, given rides. It's also good for wood chips and gardening.
And this is the one that we wound up buying in early fall, and all those sides come off, and then you can, you know, use it like a flatbed trailer as well. Alright, so I had a lot of help from my brother-in-law Chris and my father-in-law Brent. And as you can see, we had just poured all the cement into the forming tubes to create the pillars. I think it wound up being, I want to say 35 or 40 bags of cement that we had to haul up the hill in that little wagon. And I think I could only do 3 or 4 bags at a time, you know, reliably, without feeling like I'm going to crack that thing in half. And then once we got them up there, we also needed water for the mix, and so I had to put, I don't know, it was a 20 or 30 gallon tank that I had to put water in there. I had to haul that up the hill on the wagon, and then slowly but surely we mixed batches in that wagon itself. We put in a few bags at a time, added water, and then mixed and then poured. So I think once we had the cement poured and everything smoothed out, it was kind of a big relief for me, because once that part of it's done, to me the framing and the carpentry part is a little more fun for me anyway. Also, I decided not to put in those J-hooks, you know, for the I don't know what they're called. I think they're called J-hooks. We decided not to go that route, and instead I found some other hardware that sets on top of the piers. and I keep saying forms, but I meant to say piers here. And that hardware sets on top. You don't have to, plunge it in while the cement is wet. You can drill it in later and get it in the exact spot that you want it. The other nice thing about this hardware that I'm talking about, it lifts the wood up off the pier just a little bit, so that you don't have that water wicking effect that draws the water up into the wood. So I've never done either of these systems before, so I thought I might as well just try this other way, see how it works. So then we use that hammer drill to, drill down those bolts into the cement piers, and then that allowed us to attach the Simpson tie-down hardware that I was talking about. You can see that they have several holes on the sides of those sides of that hardware that allows us to screw into whatever lumber that you stick in there after the fact. So that's what we did. We got them all set. Okay, so now that we have all the hardware set, we're ready for the lumber and to build the posts and the frame. Here I'm hauling up 2x8s. I think at this point I've already manually carried up the 4x6s. Actually, I think I carried up 3 or 4 4x6s by hand, and then I just decided to figure out a way to get one up at a time on the ATV. The trail was just accommodating enough where I could do that. Okay, so at this point, all of the posts are set plumb to one another in groupings of 3. You notice there's 3 groups of 3. Each of those groups are perfectly in line with one another and plumb. And I'm using a 2x4 to brace that first grouping. What'll happen is once I've tied those groupings of 3 all together, I'm going to tie everything together by putting the beams on top, and then ultimately connecting the beams with floor joists. Once I had each of those 3 sections tied together with a beam, then I went back through and used those Simpson strong ties again for the floor joists, and I kind of tied the 3 beams to one another using those floor joists, using 2x8s in between each of them. Those beams were really heavy. We sistered 2 2x8s together to make those beams up top there, and those were pretty heavy to get up. Fortunately, I had my brother-in-law Matt was able to help me with that. So here it is after we get the heaviest of the lumber assembled. And as you can imagine, without having the cross bracing, that whole structure was pretty shaky. What we have right now is just, we have the, I think it's called down force or vertical stability, right? So if you push down on the structure, it's really strong, but from left to right or lateral, from a lateral perspective, is not shaky until we get that bracing up. So that was kind of the next part that you'll see here. And I had to do it in several spots, and every time I added that, I still think I could run a car into this thing now and it would not break. It is unbelievably strong, and there is not one shaky part about it. Here you also see that I added 2 stringers, and then kind of realized my mistake afterwards that I really needed 3 because of that span in between the 4-foot section in between those stringers. So and then I had to figure out a way now to level the 3 of them together, and then make sure that they were properly supported at the mid section of the stringer as well as at the base of the structure, the base of the stringer structure. So the other thing I did was I decided to dig down, and looking back, I probably wish I had poured a footing here, but what I did was I dug down and put in cement and compacted it really well, pretty deep down, and then added these cement pads. And then later on you'll see that I attached the stringers to these pads using Simpson strong tie system as well. But at the end of it, this was ready for the stair treads to go on, and it was rock solid, and everything was perfectly level. So I was happy with the way that turned out.
Alright, so that's the end of the video. We're new to YouTube, creating videos for YouTube, so bear with us as we get the hang of this, and certainly open to any suggestions. But thanks for watching. We'll see if we can put out a video again soon.